Now let's understand what I have done in the backend sections today. Uh, Basically, I have built and input validation middleware. The reason behind uh, for building this middleware is to first we have to check uh, whether the input data uh, uh, sorry, input data uh, sent by the user are in the correct format or not. If suppose uh, a user entered the wrong data and without the validations of the input, it get passes to the controller and controller pass it to the services and services it goes to the uh, repository and after the repository suppose it goes to the database. If the data input data contains the vulnerabilities, then it will uh, can threat our database or it can crash our database. So that's why we have used the input validation middleware so that the only the valid data can be entered in our uh, application. Now let's see to what I have coded or implemented today. First of all, I have created a file valid.js in the middleware folder. For creating, I have written here. I have exported this as a default a validated function because uh, it can be easily used on the uh, in the entire app section, uh, or you can say backend section by exporting it. So let's see the first validate function. What it takes the parameter as a schema. Schema means you can say the a function body that instruct or guide the data should follow the whole body or the schema so that or you can say like a schema like a rule book uh, it should be followed by the every it should be followed by the every request of the user that's the schema. So I have passed this schema as a parameter. After passing the schema, uh, I have returned a function. Let's see what this function will do. This function pass the user request, which contain request response and the next is parameter. I then inside this function I have created an input uh, JavaScript object that contain body, params, and query. The user request will categorize in three parts that is body, params, and query. After creating the object, input object, this input is passed to the uh, Jod input function. Jod, you can say Jod is a middleware which has to validate our input. It's a middleware package which helps to validate the user input. Basically, the schema.shape parse, what it does, it takes the predefined schema and compare the all the input fields with the requested data, whether the data contained in the HTTP user request are valid or not according to the schema that is already defined in our server. For example, when suppose the user want to log in uh, with a uh, with the email and password, so the schema might contain the email should follow the email format is to contain at the rate and something like that, and password should be minimum of 8 characters, or it should contain the special character, something like that. It will validate and password should be number, not it should be not it should not be the string. That's all things are contained in our schema section. Uh, yeah, tomorrow we will see the different kind of schema. So, for example, user schema or login schema. So after suppose all the data contained in the user request are according to the schema which is defined already defined in our server, then it will retain some data. That data will be stored in the result variable. Suppose if there is no data or any error, it will throw a JSON format error which contains status code 400 with this message success false, message will be validation failed, and the error, the kind of error it occurs in the input validation, that error will be printed in the JSON format. Suppose if there is no error in the input validation, then all the data contained in the result will be stored in the rec.validated. After storing all the data, suppose user data, user ID, username, user image also are stored in the rec.validated. That data we can pass to the controller, and controller will be uh, use that data uh, uh, all the services sections or such as I have already discussed. For example, a user might ask to uh, create a user, the user function will record, and it takes this request to the services, and services will validate whether the it's follow the business logic or not. For example, uh, the email or the user ID already exists or not, the email with the user duplicate or not. That's all steps. So when we check on the services section, after checking, then it will send to the repository section where create function will be create the new user, and that's how the flow will work. After storing the all the data in the array dot validated, it call the next this next function called triggers or continue this flow of requests to the it will hand over to the controller. After the middleware validation, it was the controller will uh, uh, controller will um, handle the validated data of the users. So that's all about the middleware validations of middleware. Why, what is validation, how it works, and why we have used this validation middleware. So thank you. And that is all about the validation middleware.